What's up people, welcome back to the channel. So today on the channel we're going to do something completely different to what I usually do, which is going to make just a cooking video. So I'm not a recipe guy, I don't have a ton of recipes that I use because I'm a pretty simple guy when it does come to my food for the most part. But there's one recipe that people always ask me for, and it's how do I make the pancakes that I always am posting onto my Instagram, right? I love pancakes, who doesn't love pancakes? But one big thing with making pancakes is like either people make protein pancakes which have dry protein powder in them, or they will make the ones which are maybe not so macro friendly. So these ones are both macro friendly, but they're also going to be high protein too. And this is pretty much all we need, right? So what you're going to need is you're going to need some oats, you're going to need a single egg, you're going to need a banana, you're going to need some vanilla flavor drops. So these are my protein flavor drops. These are probably the best ones I've used. We're going to have some baking powder, we're going to have some 0% fat-free Greek yogurt, and then we're going to have some egg whites. In total, this recipe is going to come to about 600 calories, around 40 grams of protein, and you can top it with pretty much whatever you want. Only other important thing that you're going to need is some type of food processor like a NutriBullet or a Ninja food processor, a normal food processor. It doesn't have to be these brands, but these are the ones I use. Anyway, right, let's get into it and let's see how we make them. All right, so the first important thing that we're going to do is we're going to whip out our weighing scales here, going to add in our egg whites. For the quantities I use, I am going to use something pretty simple for you all to remember. So I'm going to use 100 grams of egg whites. And now you can scale this to your calorie needs, but typically I'll kind of do it in like a 1-to-1 ratio. Do 75 grams of egg whites, I use 75 grams of oats, 75 grams of Greek yogurt. I'm always going to keep the whole egg in here, and then the banana is really going to be dictated on how much carbs you want to put into the meal, or how much extra carbs from banana you want to put into the meal. But the banana is one of the things that's making these taste nice and fluffy and giving them a nice rich flavor. So I have my 100 grams of egg whites in here. I'm going to throw in my egg. And then I'm going to put in the likes of my flavor drops. So put in 1, 2, 3. Now the baking powder is also a very important ingredient because this is going to be the thing that is making them rise. The very good thing as well about these pancakes is that we are getting in some fiber, right? So we're getting some fiber to start our day off with the likes of the oats. We're getting in some fiber for the banana, and you can also count that as a serving of fruit, I guess. So I'm going to put in about 5 grams of baking powder. I need another sachet. Come on. All these weights and you can't open a thing of baking powder. Here's Samson, my cooking apprentice. And next up, I am gonna add in my oats. Recap so far: 100 grams of egg whites, 3 squirts of vanilla flavor drops, and we have 5 grams of baking powder. And now I'm gonna put in 100 grams of oats. Because my calories are quite high, I'm taking about 3,000 calories a day, I'm usually gonna have up to 100 grams of oats. Now, this is something I'll have for breakfast. I'll have it alongside bacon medallions, have it alongside eggs, a bit of maple syrup or honey, whatever is going, and a bit of peanut butter, but I'll show you that at the end. The next thing I'm gonna add in is going to be my banana. So banana, to be honest, I never really kind of edit the quantity of this. Whatever the banana is, the banana goes into the actual blender. Usually it ends up being about 75 grams to 90 grams. This one here is 90 grams. I've been tracking 90 grams last while, so I'm gonna keep it at 90 grams because I have to hit my macros today still. Okay, so that is everything in here except for the yogurt. Now, fat-free Greek yogurt is also a very important component, that is making it taste, or making them not be as dry, right? Because like one thing that people are often putting into pancakes is going to be the likes of butter. And butter is kind of giving that kind of like nice kind of smooth texture or nice bit of fluffiness because it has the fats in here. But Greek yogurt can also be quite a good substitute to use in baking if you don't want to use as much butter. 0 to scale. And now actually one final important component I'm going to add in is just a bit of salt. I like to add a little bit of salt in there. It just adds an extra tiny bit more flavor. Now, time to blend. Once the blending is done, you should have this type of consistency to it. As you can see there, nice and batter-like. And then we're just going to heat up a non-stick pan. Going to get some low-calorie spray. Get the pan a little bit greased. Put it on my pan for my eggs as well. And now, once the pan is hot enough, it should be time to add my first bit of mixture. There we go. Pancake number 1, getting ready to go. Now, a very important part of this recipe is get some type of lid, cover the pancake. That just makes sure it cooks a little bit more through the pancake versus just on one side. As this first pancake is almost done, the way we're starting to tell is because there's going to be little bubbles forming on top. And there we go. There is the first flip. So why we use a non-stick pan is so that it's just easier for us to flip over without having any mess. So once you start to see those bubbles start to form on the top, when you have it covered, that's the time when you need to flip, because it's cooking on the inside or the first side very, very quickly. And after this first pancake, they're going to start to increase in cooking speed. So you will have to keep a close eye on them, or else they'll just start to burn. And nobody likes a burnt pancake. So that's pancake number 1 done. And that is what the first pancake looks like. As you see, nice and golden. Beautiful. As I mentioned, these next few pancakes, they are going to start to cook nice and fast. So you do have to pay attention, just so they don't get too burnt on the outside layer. Pancake number 2, not bad. And the final pancake. So just get the perfect amount. 4 is a nice number. And these are the finished products. Nice and fluffy. You can put them in a stack, but what I'm going to do now is going to add my toppings. I'll show you when the process is done. Alright, so the first thing I've added, because I like bacon and pancakes, is just some bacon medallions. So these are just normal rashers or normal bacon that you get in Ireland, just with the fat rind stripped off, because we don't have bacon medallions over here in Spain. If you are in Canada, you're a Canadian viewer, you get the loose bacon or loose black bacon. That's what I used to use when I was living over there. So I'm gonna add that in here. Then the next things I'm gonna add on is some powdered peanut butter. Again, keeping it a little bit more macro friendly, considering I am in the diet phase right now. I'd love to add normal peanut butter, but I just don't have the calories. So I'm just gonna make up about 20 grams worth of this, mix it with a tiny bit of milk. And stir up into the paste. So I don't like to mix water with this, because I don't know, it takes away from the creaminess that peanut butter is meant to have. So using a bit of milk just makes it a little bit nicer. So I actually forgot to add on my eggs, so I just fried 2 eggs and put it on there. Again, bacon, eggs, pancakes, delightful combination. What I'm gonna do is gonna pour peanut butter over top. Even on the eggs, yes. Now, ultimately, you can top it however you want. This is just how I currently like to do it for my macros and for my preferences. If you can get your hands on some maple butter, absolutely get maple butter. And if you have the carb load, use maple butter to pour over them. Heat it up in a microwave and pour it over. It's so much nicer than using maple syrup. Now, apologies to any of my Canadian followers, I'm gonna put honey over them, okay? Because maple syrup over here is like €10 for an actual fucking tub of it, or for a bottle of it. So I just use honey at the moment, and you know, I kind of had apprehensions of using it at the start, but it is pretty damn delightful. So that is macro friendly, high protein pancakes, easy to make, quick to make, tasty. I'm not going to leave you feeling like shit after, so give them a go. If you did like the video, make sure to give me a like, leave a comment if you have any questions, or if you want to roast my topping choices. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll be back at you with the regular vlogs and fitness content.